Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So now let me switch my chart so that and in the last class I was talking about this thing, string methods. Okay, different kinds of string methods, find versus all this. Done. Five. Okay. So if you see string handling, this we don't need it. I'm closing them all these friends. Those are tabs. So we are talking about string methods and we discuss about this split method, how to use split method, how to convert it to tokens. Okay. So, and then how to iterate it and then print them, print those tokens. That's what we discussed in the last class. So yeah, we are recording, no problem. So now the next thing is regarding strings. And we also had discussed find versus index, and we understood how to work with find, how to work with index, all that important differences between find versus index. And then lstrip and then rstrip and strip. So the purpose of this strip methods, any of these strips, okay, is to remove spaces in a tree. Okay, suppose lstrip means it is used to remove spaces at the left side of the string. Rstrip means at the right side of the string. Strip means on both sides. So to remove spaces on both sides of a string. And this is very useful method because there are many times where our strings are left with spaces. And we need to remove such spaces for proper validation, else we cannot validate strings properly. To do that validation, we need this, okay, strip methods. Following friends. So let me just test this now. Let us take an example and then simply test it. So only thing is we just need to understand what method is that, and then isalnum, isalpha. These are also very useful methods. We'll go one by one. So today we'll finish off methods. Probably we'll finish off string topic today. Okay, and then we may jump to the next important topic of this thing. What is that we call? The next important topic is list or collections. That is very important. Yeah, we'll work on automations as well. We'll go slowly one by one. Okay, let's do that now. Just a minute. Yeah, let me proceed now. Let's talk about the strip thing. Yeah, here we are talking about. So let me take a simple string here. So okay, let's add a string here, something like name some. Taking a simple string, actually, some string one equal to, we can take anything of our choice. I'm taking a simple string here. So what is that I'm taking? No, this is for testing on lstrip. Okay, suppose you see here, we can copy the print from these things. Okay, let's have a print. And here the L strip of string 1 is. So we can just take L strip of, we can make it more clear of string 1 is, okay, string 1, sorry, it might have opened for some reason. We don't need all this. Now is here we just need to apply L strip on this string 1. String 1 dot L strip. This removes space from the left side of a string. You can see here at the start of string, which is at left side. If any space exists, that space will be removed if you apply L strip. Understood? So let me run this now. Just check the last output. Don't worry about remaining all. You can see that this is something which is L stripped here. This one. Okay, where the space from left side is removed. So that is the important thing. Suppose if you want to know that if space is removed or not, you can find the length before stripping and you can find length after stripping. Suppose now we have 4 characters in this string, including space, it will be 5. After stripping, okay, after you apply L strip, it should be 4. That is the idea. Suppose if you want to just quickly understand length of, you can just say string 1 before we apply L strip. Okay, let me just then this one. Now right click and let's run this and see. You can see here, before I do L strip length is what is that? Length is, yeah, it's 5. After also it is 5 because this is a temporary change. If you want that, what you can do, you can copy this and assign to a variable, something like string 2 equal to or, okay, you can just apply L strip on that string and assign to this string 2. Now find length of string 2. This should give you a length of 4. That shows that space is removed. Before here, the length of string 1 should be 5. After applying L strip, the length of string 2 should be 4. Let's run this and see. And you can see that the change happened. This is how you have to validate your, you have to check your validations. You got it, friends. When you apply something, because space we cannot see or we properly, or we may not assess it properly in output. So this is another easy and simple validation technique. You got it right. So this is about left strip. Similarly, you can apply R strip also. So to remove space at the right side, okay, you can just take a simple string, or you can use same string, use spaces at left side and right side, just to show this simple example. So I just take another example here. What is that? I take string 3 equal to, I apply string 1 dot R strip. So this removes space at the right part of a string, and then just change the description in print statements. Okay, and print this string 3 in the output. And here also it should be string 3. Instead of this, maybe we can do one thing. We can, instead of this, take this and pass it here. Because we are already applying there outside. You don't need to perform 2 times. Okay, copy this and then just pass your this thing method here. And then here also change that here. Now this should give a clear idea. For R strip, it should be 5 because we have 6 characters inside this string S1, I mean string 1. Okay, nom has 4 characters, left space and right space, 2 more extra characters, altogether 6 characters. If you apply lstrip, we should get length as 5. If we apply rstrip, here also we should get as length as 5, but the actual length should be 6. Okay. And one more is strip. Strip means removing spaces on both sides, right? At the beginning of string, at end of string, not in the middle. Suppose if you have space in the middle, strip doesn't, any strip method cannot remove spaces in the middle. You got it, right? So these strip methods are very helpful to remove spaces in the beginning or at the end of string. That's all. Or both, at both sides of a string based on type of strip method you are applying. Okay, so string 4, I take it as just strip. Okay, and then we can just change description and then just pass string 4 in the output. Okay, here also string 4, here also string 4, and execute this. Okay, now run this now. Finally, you get a clear idea. The actual length of string is 6. After lstrip, we got length as 5 because it removes space at the left side. After rstrip, even still we get 5. That is also valid. And if it is strip, it removes spaces on both sides. So it is 4. So this shows that these methods are working as expected. We don't have any big difference here. I mean, we don't have any problem with these methods. Okay, we are applying them properly and correctly. Got it? So that is overall idea of what is that, friends, about strip methods. Next one. All of you are fine with strip, right? Next after that. So let me take another method. So what is it now? Let's talk about these methods. What is that? Isalpha, isalnum. These are also very useful methods in validations. Generally, if you work with data, right, on data validations. So definitely these methods are helpful or handy for us to filter data. Okay, so let's talk about isalnum. Okay, what as name says, if it is isalnum, it checks whether a string is alphanumeric or not. Suppose you take any string of your choice, just a simple string. This one, let me test this now. Okay, so you can take a string, this one, and then just say you can copy this and again add here. I want to check if this is alphanumeric. For sure, this is alphanumeric, and it should return true. Wherever you see is all num or is alpha, these are all nothing but a validation methods which returns Boolean result, true or false, based on the validation. If validation is successful, these methods return true, else these methods returns false. Okay, so now let's just test them. So here the method we are applying is we can just I can just copy from here. Is all num of some string s. So otherwise you can just name it as a pattern. Okay, pattern one, something like this. Okay, let me just pass it for printing purpose, and then also I'm applying dot is. You can see all these different validation methods, data validation methods. Okay, so now I am using is all now. Similarly, I try to check on different methods now. Okay, next is once after that is alpha. Let's check that it's not completely purely alpha. So this is the pattern, and this pattern is alphanumeric. Okay, then you can remove this comment, not an issue, and similarly remove comments. So these are not needed. And now let's just change all this, test all these methods quickly, one by one. Sorry, friends. So is alpha. Just test for is alpha. And then same pattern here, instead of isalnum, check apply a method. What is that method you should apply? Is alpha. Okay, that is the method you should apply. It checks whether this string is pattern one is alpha, but definitely this is false. So the first one is true without any doubt. Second one is false because it's not just alpha I mean, it is not just only alphabets. It's alphanumeric. And then the third one is digit. It's alphanumeric. I don't think it's a pure digit. Okay, so next we can pass is digit, and then here just apply is digit. Okay, next after that is lower. Is it in lowercase? Yeah, we'll just try to test it now. And simply we can just apply if it is in lowercase or uppercase. What case is that? Okay, and then is upper. Okay, then just apply here. So is upper and just apply a simple this thing here is upper, and finally isspace to see that if it have any white spaces or not. Isspace, and then just apply isspace here. Okay, so this gives us an idea how to validate on a string pattern or on a data of string. Okay, let's run this and just observe output for last 6 statements. Okay, in the output. Okay, let's run this. You can see here true, false, false. Because is it a digit? No, this string is not, this pattern is not digit. So this is false, right? And similarly, is lower? Yeah, this should be true. You can see there. So this is true. Okay, and then is upper? Definitely this is not upper and this is false. And finally, is space? This is not any, this thing, it's not space. So this is also false. Okay. So this is the overall idea of all this data validation methods on string, are string validation methods. Understood, friends? Of course, we have to put in one automation and see that how this works. So we will see that. Okay, first let's finish off all that. We can take up some couple of automations on all this. Okay. So next after this, so these are all generic methods, max, min, all this split we had already discussed. Max means what is that? How? So now you take an example, print. Okay, applying max method. Max method means returns the maximum string, the highest string in that, highest character in a string. Okay, let us take a same pattern and then just apply max on this pattern one. So sorry, remove this and then max of pattern one is here, just simply apply max. And then pattern one dot, so and also this is not a method inside string class. So you have to use max of, to this method, you have to pass that string. Then we get max of that character, which is nothing but among this ABC 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now right click, run this, and you can see you can say among this ABC, C is the biggest character. So that is the max among ABC. Next after that, min, again we can also check for min, but generally this max and min is applied usually on integer data, not on string data. I'm just showing you just to apply how do we apply these methods on strings. Okay. And once we move to that data structures, we will also understand how to apply these methods on data structures, this max, min. Okay, and then that length method. Length anyhow we can apply on string as well. So here we can say min pattern of 1. Okay, you can remove this outputs here. So here we get the max of that pattern is C, and min of that pattern, it should be A. Okay, so right click, run this. You can see here min it took as this one. So among ABC, one should have a less unique code. So that's why it shows as one. That should be okay. Fine. So now next after that, this is all about different methods and split finally. Split method we had discussed in the last class, right? And you should be clear with split method, right? This is where we had discussed split. You can see that. Okay, did I apply split? You can see, yeah, here. We just took a simple string here, John, Peter, Sam, Samson. And then we applied a split here. You can see that now. Token of list equal to name file dot split. And then this splits that string by space. And then we have three tokens into this. I mean this tokens list. Generally split method returns a list. And this I clearly explained in the last class. Sorry. This returns a list. You can see here. So once that returns list, it has list of tokens, and then we iterate those that tokens or that list and print token by token. If you want, you can do something else as well as a part of logic that we'll see when we add automations, list of automations while dealing with all that. We'll see multiple scenarios, how to apply and how to work with all that. So this is the overall idea of what? Idea of string and string methods and all that. So I'm sure we are done with string methods. This is enough for us to kickstart with string automations if at all if it is needed in Python. Okay. If anything is there, definitely we'll discuss that. I'll also bring in hands-on practice programs or automation programs so that it's easy for you to play around all these different topics which we are discussing. Okay, this is fine. All of you are good till this, right? Yes or no, friends? Are you good with this? So now let's move to the next topic. What is that? So now, so we are done with string methods. Starts with endswith. This is also something useful because there are many times I use these methods when I do certain automations in my day-to-day work. So to do some kind of to apply a skipping. Generally, usual scenario I apply with starts with and ends with is to check if I have any backups in my code, right? Or suppose there is a path like this in my database, something like slash abc slash xy. I am not sharing the actual path, just giving you an idea. Slash xyz and then slash bbc something, and then it might have a date something like 2025 hyphen. Okay, let's take today's date itself, something like this, and then 27. So suppose I want to check if a particular path in database starts with abcxyz, then what do? I just take a string here. So some path equal to, you can just take this string, take it as a string. Sorry, friends. Let's take this and it with quotes. And now you know, right, how to apply startswith. So the validation part is so we know if right now, right? If path dot, I just say that starts with the, so suppose it starts with, if any path starts with ABC, right? Slash ABC and slash XYZ, then I should do something. Okay, just a simple validation showing you. Maybe I don't want to process that path, so I just say continue. Okay, so that it doesn't go to it doesn't try to process it. So usually this has to be under a looping, should be fine. Continue. Then instead of, because this is throwing error, what I do is I just add a pass here instead of continue. I'll explain what is pass, what is continue, everything. Okay, so that is, I'm just adding. I'm saying don't do anything. When I say pass means pass is a filler keyword where if you don't want to do anything in a block, then we just declare that with pass. Pass means just saying something, pass. Don't do anything. That's it. Okay, this is a kind of check we do with starts with. Similarly, suppose I want to check if something ends with so and so, I should skip it. Another scenario. Okay. So general this for these kind of validations, this method starts with ends with are very useful, friends. Ends with suppose if you say that if it ends with some BBC, something like this, then I want to skip that path for from processing. Okay. From going and checking into that path and fetching on dates and everything. I don't want to do that. So in such case, I can apply this kind of methods. These two methods are very helpful for us. Let's run it now. So otherwise, I just add something here because we are testing, right? And having a print inside these methods are very helpful to understand if they are working as expected. So you can just say something like, so path of, okay, you can just add path again. Sorry, same here. Having a meaningful print is always a best practice. Here you can remove this. So what you are doing here, part of this one is found. Just simply you can say, just you can print that part. Okay. But when you are really working on scenario, you just say pass. You don't need to declare any prints or anything. After print, I put pass to just keep the processing of this particular path. Okay. Next after that, similarly, another scenario, you can just take this, okay, and then you can, okay, add this and simply you can say pass. Of course, both are having same path. So, but validation is different. That's all. One is checking for starts with, another is checking for ends with. And this validation for sure, I generally do this in most of my regular automations because these are needed. These checks are needed. Okay, let's right click and run this. Now you can see that. So the path of this thing is found. Okay, that is this one. Similarly, ends with BBC. Okay. So suppose if we have BBC, it doesn't end with BBC, right? You can see there because it has a date. Suppose if you just remove this date, then this ends with also will be fruitful. It is successful validation. Now this string ends with BBC2 and starts with ABC and XYZ. Both validations are true. Then in such case, it skips that path from processing. Okay. Run this now. You can see this time you can see two outcomes. This is how we do validation, friends. Hope all of you are clear on this. I'm just showing you how to play around validations. Next after that. Okay. So this is the idea of starts with, ends with. Next after that, index we did discuss. Okay. And join, another important method. Okay. We'll take it again as a next item. So join anyhow we see it at the end of this discussion. And replace method. Sometimes replace is also very useful method. What it does is it replaces old character with new character. That's it. It doesn't do anything. Let's test it directly. So you can take a string here, a pattern 2. So just simple string. That's all. You don't need something really. Pattern 2 equal to, you can take something like, so some apple. Okay. Now I just want to replace any one of these characters in apple. I want to replace A with some X or B. So what replace does simple? It's a simple method. Some filter. Okay, I'm directly applying replace. If you want, you can assign to some variable as well. So pattern 2 dot replace of. Suppose I want to replace a old character with new character or a substring with a new substring. Okay. So here instead of A, I take it as okay, B. You can see there automatically PyCharm is just adding something for us. This is old character, this is new character. So Now you can run this and print it. If you want, you can make this description a bit more readable. I'm just testing it now as is. You can see got replaced, right? Likewise, you can play around on different, you can check on substrings as well. Okay. Try to replace a substring and see if it is working, or else see if this is enough for us to do that, do that. Else take a method which is properly needed for us. Okay. Choose method that performs that substring replacement. Okay. So now after that, special characters. This is very important scenario. Concatenation of so not join. Join anyhow, we'll cover it at the end of this topic. Okay. Special characters, I mean special operators. With this, we did, I think we almost completed methods of string class. Okay. So this should be done completely. We had a very detailed coverage on string methods. Yeah, we will again revisit all these fundamentals again in one proper automation example, so that gives you overall idea how to apply, how to validate, and how to do everything right on the automation. So next after that, so I'm taking a new this thing, adding a new file. Okay, string concatenation. This is a beautiful example, and there are multiple scenarios associated in this topic. Okay. And if you want, you can add it to the GitHub. Okay. So now where is that? So here. For what is this plus operator in Python? This is there in Java, C++, okay, or C sharp in many of the languages. Plus is a concatenation operator. What is this plus does? If you apply plus between two numeric operands, it generates arithmetic plus, or it performs arithmetic operation. Simply an addition is performed. Suppose you have two strings and you are applying plus between two strings, then concatenation plus is called. It combines both of these two strings. Between two strings, if you apply plus, it concatenates both strings. Right? Between two numeric values, if you apply plus, arithmetic plus is called, which is nothing but an addition is performed. Following friends. That is the idea. Now, also there is a scenario where is what is that? If both values are strings, and if you apply plus, it's very clear. Concatenation plus is applied. Suppose you can see here you have a string and you have an integer, and you are applying plus between a string and integer, then it leads to an error. You can see that cannot concatenate string and int objects. Okay, let me just quickly test these scenarios and show you here. Just take two strings. Suppose some string one equal to, okay, pt, and then I just take some simple strings here. Okay, and string two equal to, I put it as putty. I have two strings. Okay, now I am just applying a scenario one or case one. So what is that? I'm applying plus between these two strings. Okay, so if you want, you can assign that result back to some third variable as some string 3 equal to string 1 plus, you can just say string 2. So where is that? Okay, I just need to change a bit here. Instead of 1, make it 2. And here, just apply plus. Now you print this. So you take a print statement from here or anywhere. Okay. And then apply that here and here. The string 3. Array. Okay. Copy this, add it here, add here also. So now the output of or result of string 3 is, you can just add a result of string 3 hyphen. You can just apply this one. Okay. Now you don't need brackets two times unnecessary this thing. I'm removing that. Okay. So now this should be fine for us. Let's run this now. Now you can see that both strings got combined here because this plus between two strings, it's a concatenation string. It's not a numeric string. Suppose you take another example. I'm just directly applying this time. I don't want to again waste some time. So the result of some this thing, okay. You can just apply in this placeholder some 10 plus 20. Okay, between two numeric, numeric values, right? And if you apply plus, an arithmetic plus is called. Okay, the result of numbers, you can just take it as or sum or something. You can see here. If I execute this, this should give us an output 30. Run it. Now you can see we got 30. In between these two, an arithmetic plus is called, that is addition is performed. Now the third scenario, this is important. Okay. I have some string 4 equal to, I just take some ABC plus, I just add a number. Then this leads to error. Suppose if I print this, okay, you can see this, the result of string 4, okay. And then if I try to print that string 4, let me just run this and show you. This leads to error. Let's run it now. And you can see that type error only concatenates string to string, not into, you can see that. Here in this case, I am trying to combine string with integer. So what is that I should do now? To fix this issue, I have to convert this integer to a string. So for that, we apply what method? str method, a string conversion method. Where if we just apply, we had already discussed these conversion methods, right? So once you apply that conversion method, what's going to happen? This integer 4 is converted to string, numeric string. Okay, that integer will becomes a numeric string, and then now run this now, execute it. You can see that ABC4. So this is the idea. Understood, friends? So whenever you come across this kind of scenario, just remember, so you cannot directly combine a string and any other numeric, number type of value or numeric type of value. If at all, if you want to do, you have to do a conversion here. Okay, between two different types and a string and a number. That number might be int or float or whatever it is. So this is overall idea of concatenation plus important. It would be helpful in many of the cases. So I just spent some time on this. Next after that. So these are all again important. We did discuss all this membership operators and then not and in and not in. This is for data validations. Okay. So to see that if some value exists inside a list or not, inside a tuple or not, inside a dictionary or not. In such cases, this in and not in is very helpful. Okay. So this is index. We had already applied index, right? On a string. Asterisk means, okay, this is a simple thing, right? Creates, we'll go one by one. Anyhow, we'll quickly test on all these operators so that we understand how to apply them. Asterisk is rarely used method. This thing for multiplication, it's different. For this scenario, what is it is meant for? What is that? Create new strings, concatenates multiple copies of same string. Like for example, you take this. Let's continue on the same thing. Okay. Suppose you just say that something like print. Okay. ABC asterisk 3. And if you run this, and you can see that ABC is created for 3 times. The occurrences ABC is occurred for 3 times when you say ABC asterisk. Suppose if you want to generate a range of strings of same type, then you can just apply asterisk 3. But we don't use this operator much often. We don't use it quite often. It's not needed. Okay. But it depends again. When you have a need and necessity, apply it. It's up to you. Okay. Next, after that, index. We already discussed this a lot. String by default has natural indexing. What is that? The forward index and a backward index, that negative and positive indexing. And we did tested that in the beginning. It's there in YouTube. You can check that video if you want to understand how indexing is applied on a string. And slicing, we did a lot of examples on slicing. And we also understand different scenarios associated with slicing. So we can skip these two for now, as we had a coverage on these operators. In and not in, right? Generally, in and not in is applied on this thing. Okay, again, same scenario. For example, so I take a real scenario. We have paths like this, list of paths, okay? And then they are inside a list, something like slash ABC slash BBC slash, okay, BBC. Let's take a string like this, one string. Again, take another path, okay, equal to something like xxx slash yyyy slash zzz. Another path, okay, just take another path, okay. What is that? So now I'll take it as slash in single quotes again, some ddd slash and then aaa slash and then xxx slash. So this is the simple list of paths in a variable. Okay. So now the validation is, suppose I want to check, suppose if this paths on all this, I want to check if if ABC is, or maybe I'll do one thing. Okay. I'll just make something is coming twice or thrice. Okay. So that it's easy. It gives more depth to this validation. We can add a bit of depth of validation. So what we do right now, now we can see if path, what is that? You can just add directly if you want. You can say something like, slash or just ABC. In paths, just check. Okay. And then colon, and then just print that. Okay. So now what you can do? So generally we iterate and validate because this is a list, right? In real time, the validation is done like this. What is that? If for, right, how to use for loop, we had discussed for path in paths. Okay, we iterate each path and see that if this path is there inside paths. What is that? This, sorry, if this substring is present in this each path. Okay, this is one kind of validation. Okay, print, you can just add, okay, that path. Okay, I just add ABC, and also we have to use something like F here, right, at the beginning. ABC is found in something. I'm just directly giving you all different scenarios which I apply in my automations. Okay. So like this is how you can just take applying this in method. Okay, this helps us to validate if this substring, I mean to iterate over these paths in a list and see that if this substring is present in this path, and if it is found, I just need to print it. That's all. Okay, here just add a code for this because we didn't assign that to any variable. Okay, so now run this now. So ABC in path. Okay, that should be fine. Let's run it and see. And you can see that ABC is found in two paths in that list. You can see that one is this and second one is this. Perfect, right? So these are certain validations I keep doing in my automations. And in is useful this way. This is how in helps us. Suppose if you want to quickly check whether this ABC is there in this paths or not, I want to just do another sanity check. If okay, this is a sanity check. ABC inside paths. Okay. Then I just want to do iteration. Okay, another scenario. So after assessing that ABC is inside paths, I want to iterate those paths and see where exactly this ABC exists, in which path this ABC exists. Okay. So the first check is a sanity check. Okay, let me run this now. Run it. And you can see, okay, mm, we are not getting expected out. This sanity check is not working. But generally, ABC in paths. Mm. So this is not fetching that. Okay, I can do one thing. Let's keep this as is, this validation. Let me check like this. First do a quick check print. Okay, I'm directly doing a global search. It's like global search, some ABC. Okay, in paths, EATS, and seeing that probably means if this substring exists in this strings, or in this list of values inside this paths. Okay, so let's try to run and see what is the output it generates. It is returning. This time I think we got output, right? It's giving a, yeah, of course. This is false actually. This is returning false because we are not applying as a if check, right? If it is false, then it doesn't go further. So means this is not working as expected. This is how you can check, right? Suppose what this is doing is it is directly checking if ABC is present anywhere of this thing. But now this is a proper validation. This is not working something. How this ABC in this this is going to help us. You can do one thing. Another example with this linear search. This is called doing a linear search. Suppose you take strings like this. Another scenario. Something like ABC. Something like, okay. You can just take XYZ. Suppose you have just list of strings and now you want to check if that ABC exists, not as paths. Okay. So, but you can see this. And then this is paths too. Okay. Now you apply this scenario. What is that? Print ABC in paths too. So this is a linear search. Now this time we will have a positive hit here. Okay, because this is not in the form of paths like this, but we have just list of strings here. And this validation just checks if this substring or string exists in this paths too. This time this should return true for us. Okay, let's run it now. You can see it returns true. This validation is successful. The previous validation is false because it doesn't go and check inside path. If this is part of each of these paths, if this substring is part of each of these strings are paths. So that's why it is returning false. Got it right? So this is how in is very helpful for us and we can use it in different ways. And similarly, not in is very simple. Suppose there are certain cases we want to do the negative check. Suppose if this is not there, you do this. That is a kind of thing. Suppose I just add some validation. If so, I just add if XYZ not in paths to something example. Okay, then just do something. You add some logic, but for now I'm just printing it. Okay. So I just add it here and then just pass XYZ directly or assign to variable and then do validation. It's up to you. XYZ is found in is not found. I just need to say is not found in paths to something. But generally, it's not just for printing. We do some kind of logic processing in the subsequent scenarios. Okay, in the block, in this block, this is not just for printing, friends. If we are doing a real development, okay. But for testing, like if this is not there inside this, do something. That is the logic we have to apply. In such cases, we choose not in. Okay, let's run this now. You can see that XYG is not in this particular list. That is the list of paths. You can see here. That is ABC, all this. So likewise, we apply this operators. What is that? In and not in. Okay, is and is not, we did discuss that. These are identity operators. In and not in are membership operators. We had a very clear discussion on this. And again, all these are there in these recordings we just updated in our channel. So you can have a quick walkthrough on that there. This is overall, mostly I think we covered most of the important things about strings. And then finally, format specifiers. Even string has, so this is about, before I jump to that, the conclusion is this is all about operators we apply on strings, methods we apply on strings. Okay. And then all that basics we did discuss in the last two sessions, like how to split a string, how to slice a string, how to extract a character from a string. Okay. And then also we understood the indexing of strings like forward and backward, both negative and positive combinations. All that. Sorry, friends. All of you are clear with this, friends? Are you good? So if you are good, then we jump to the next topic, format specifiers. So this is something which we don't quite often use in development. Okay, when you build or when you do development, we don't use much, but only this is for just information. Okay, if you need, you can apply, else you can skip it. Right. So format specifiers talks about what is the format of different data type. Suppose if it is character, we apply percentile C. If it is string, percentile S. If it is signed decimal integer, percentile I. If it is signed decimal, again, we can use percentile I or percentile D here. Unsigned means only positive integer. Signed means positive and negative integer. If you ask me what is difference between signed and unsigned, right? So that is the difference. Unsigned integer is percentile U, you should have. And I clearly added that. Suppose if you maybe you might have that question, what is signed and unsigned? I just added that here. Signed means it accepts positive and negative values. Unsigned means it accepts only positive values. Okay. So anyhow, these format specifiers, again, I'm again repeating that we don't quite often use this format specifiers. But to get that idea, okay, we can also apply this kind of thing on strings. I'm just discussing. Octal integer, it is percentile O. Hexadecimal integer, percentile small x or capital X. Okay. Exponential notation, percentile E with small or capital. And floating point, it should be percentile F. Shorter of percentile E or percentile F is percentile G. Okay. So these are all different format specifiers. Like a small example, how to apply this format specifiers. You can see here. Okay. The example is I have three different this thing. A string data, an integer data, and a decimal data. Where string has format specifier, what is it? Percentile S. And integer has format specifier percentile D. And I mean this decimal has format specifier percentile F. How can we use that in a code? Let me just show you here for you. So come here. Okay, I'm just testing continuing in the same program. Anyhow, all these are related to strings itself, right? So hash. Okay, I'm just commenting that else it throws error. So just also we can have format specifier beside that for get proper understanding. Okay. So now I want to print this. For printing, what you can do, print off, you can just use, okay, percentile S space percentile D space percentile F. Okay, I think here you have to use something like, name, comma, age, comma, sal. Okay, so this is how you can choose format specifiers and print that order here. So this is a kind of C kind of programming style. If you go to C language and check the basics of C language, for each data type, there is one format specifier. Like for integer, definitely it's percentage D, percentile D in C. For string, it is percentile S even there. For character, there is percentile C in C language. For floating point, again, percentile F is there, LF, I think long float is also there, I believe. Similarly, there are few more format specifiers. You can check there. So it's a kind of adding a kind of C kind of this thing here, printing. Now run this now, see the output for the last one, you can see that. So the output is ABC 30 and 2000. And these format specifiers are nothing but it's a kind of what they talk about. They talk about the format of data. So this is the quick idea about format specifiers. Right. Anywhere, if you see such things in Python, any website or any YouTube or anywhere, so this discussion gives you a clear picture. Okay, at least a basic understanding of format specifiers. The purpose of format specifiers is they just, describe the data format. Based on that, you can see here in this example, if it is percentile S, you should assume that it is string. Percentile D, you should assume it as integer. Percentile F, you should assume the data format is float. You got it right. But for Python, you don't need all this. If it is C, it's must for you to print any result. But for Python, you don't need format specifier because Python is most sophisticated, advanced programming. Okay. So anyhow, but let's having knowledge about anything is not is always useful. Okay. So now finally escape sequences. You can see that right. Quickly understanding escape sequences. Slash n is for pushing a something to new line. Slash t is for horizontal tab. Slash b, we don't use slash b slash r. The most used escape sequences most of the time in our development is slash n and slash t. For this bell or for carriage return, very rarely we apply this kind of format. Escape sequences. These are called escape sequences and used for data, output formatting. Okay. Usually they are very helpful for output formatting. So, of course, these days we have so many things in place, okay, to format our output. And new line and slash t definitely are helpful. Apart from that, there are so many ways to format data nowadays. Okay. With Python, it's much more easier. So that's about this one. We are already using it and we keep also using these escape sequences as and when needed. Okay. So finally, okay, this format specifiers is done. Then let me jump to the, okay, you can see this placeholders printing with, we now, different ways of printing output. A simple print, we did discuss that. Okay. A print with, oh, sorry, friends. You can see in this program itself, we have a printing pattern. You can see a print style where we use this F string, format string. Similarly, in the initial sessions, we use a simple print just using printing A comma B comma C, something like that, using comma and printing. That is another way. And now there is another way of working with friends. You can see this. Of course, with format method as well. Here I'm not using any format. It is a straight away using placeholders and putting values into that. Okay, now string formatting with the placeholder operator. This braces we call it as placeholders. Okay, as we learned in Python variables chapter, we cannot combine strings and numbers like this, something like this is the example, right? Just now even we discussed, I cannot combine a string with age directly, right? But we can combine strings and numbers using format method. So this is another simple and another alternative strategy for this combining what strings and numbers. And format method is a simple approach to combine strings and numbers without doing conversion. Suppose if we do conversion, we don't need again format method. If you don't want to do that, and if you want to combine these strings and integers or numbers, not just integers, numbers, in such case, this format method is helpful. Okay. What is format method here? Inside a string class, there is a method. That method name is format. And this format method takes passed arguments, formats them, and places them in string where the placeholders are. If you don't understand this statement, let's understand that with an example. You don't need to worry about this statement here. What is this? Why we are writing here? Just take an example and apply it. Now you can see use a format method. So what is that? Age is this, and my name is John, and then I am a placeholder. And in placeholder, I want to fill in something. Then we apply what is that? A simple format method. Let me just show you this with example so you understand format method in strings. Sometimes we might apply this also. Okay, format method. It's for formatting your string outputs. I mean, this combining string and numeric outputs. Okay. So what is that? You take some variable, some name equal to some, okay, John, and age equal to something like, some 40. Just take it as a simple example. Now I want to print this, okay, a string like, print. The name is, here I am not using this one, and you see that there is a slight change between the previous print, not the format specified print. The format print, I mean, here if you can see that in this print, I am applying a format string. And now I am choosing a format method. There is a slight change. Both are using placeholders. You can see there is a placeholder here, and there are placeholders even in this one. Now you can see the name is placeholder and age is placeholder, and then I am applying dot format. What I am doing right now, I'm passing name comma age here. You can see that. This is another way of printing your output in Python. So what is this? This is doing now. This is the most straightforward print in Python and most efficient print. This is what I use regularly in my automations. Okay. But this is another way of applying formatting. Now I just left these placeholders blank so that in the first placeholder name is placed, in the second placeholder age is placed. Are you following, friends? So that's all. Now if you run this, see this. You can see that the name is John and age is 40. You got it right? So that's how this format method is applied. You just take a string and just keep these placeholders wherever you want to fill in that value. Wherever you want to put in a value into that placeholder, just leave it as a empty placeholder and then apply format method and pass variables as per the order you want to pass into this. Okay. Suppose if I pass age first and name first, age is substituted in the first placeholder and name is substituted into second placeholder. So order is important and you should take care of it. Okay. That your PyCharm or your interpreter don't take care of that. You as a developer, it's your responsibility. Okay. So that is the idea of format method. I hope this gives you a clear picture. And same format, we can also apply an indexing here. You can see that there is an indexing. Okay, you can observe that. I want to pay something. Now, indexing is most efficient approach, and here order doesn't matter. We don't need to worry about the order of passing arguments. Right? By default, you can see this example. We have quantity is 3, item number is something, price is something. So another alternative scenario is you can use index numbers inside these placeholders to be sure the arguments are placed in the correct placeholders. Just now I am saying, right? In this scenario, you have to make sure you have to ensure that this order is followed properly. Else the output is going to get messed up. If you don't want to mess up, there is an alternative way of playing around this format method. What is that? You can use index numbers. In the format, just understand when you pass parameters or variables, by default they are given indexing. The first one is 0, second one is 1, third one is 2. Based on that, which one should come into which position, you can see here. Suppose I want to place third variable as a first one, second variable as second one or third one, and third one as a in the middle, something. I want something a different order of placing these values in these placeholders. Then in such case, using indexing is the best choice. And this indexing is by default provided. It's natural indexing. You don't need to set any indexing there. This is by default. When you pass something here in this name has index 0, age has index 1. Suppose I just again copy this and paste it to make you understand that. Suppose I put the age is, and then you can see that the index of age is what? Name is 0, age is 1. So I put 1 here. Okay. What is that I am passing? Okay, let it be there. And then here put 0. The name is, and name is put 0. On top of that, just apply dot format of name comma age. This time you see, even though order of passing variables is name and age, but I managed my indexing here. I flipped my output that the age should come first and name should come later. Then right click and run this now, and you can see that it's perfectly substituting results. I mean values, and I'm managing that with the indexing here. And you should remember that these variables by default has indexing. Following friends. So this is all about what is that? This is all about what shall I say? This format method and different ways of working with format. Natural way of passing values. Customize. Customized means you can choose index and you can change the order of passing parameters. Okay. So these are the two different ways. I think we are almost at the end of this string discussion. If you finish this particular join thing, we are done with this. And dynamic initialization, all that is discussed. Okay. And finally, what is that join method? Definitely join has a lot of importance in development because there are many times where join is applied in my automations. Following friends. So what is join here? The last nail in the coffin for now. Of course, there will be so many things to discuss again. For now, to end our close our string journey, this is the last one we are going to cover now. This is enough for us to play around strings, whatever we have discussed, because we spent almost 3 sessions on strings, which is a huge time we have spent. So that is enough for us, friends. Okay. So now what you have to do? Using join. What is join here? Okay, you can see that join method takes all items in an iterable this thing and joins them into one string. As name says, join joins your result, simply speaking. And here a string must be specified as a separator. For join, the separator should be, what is that separator? A string is needed. And this is the syntax of join, string dot join of some iterable input. You have to pass the parameter as iterable parameter. That might be a list here. Iterable in sense, when we say iterable, it can be a list or tuple or string or dictionary or set, like, where it has group of values here. So generally, where do we have group of values? In collections. You understand that? So that is the overall idea here. And what is that join method in Python? Is used to concatenate a list of strings, simply speak. Now you can see, let's understand this with simple example. Okay, before we close this session today, we will complete this join and then close this string topic. Tomorrow, we'll take up collections We'll start with collections tomorrow, and we create an automation combining all this. I'll prepare few scenarios for automations. Fine. What is this now? This is a simple example, ABC, and then there is another string S2, and you say S2 dot join of this thing S. So what happens now? S is ABC, S2 is and your output will be, so you can see that and is iteratively concatenated with the ABC here. You can see here A and B and C. Right? What join is doing? Join is concatenating and with ABC, and it is trying to insert and after every character of S here. You can see that. So that's how join works. So if you want to have a concatenate, you can see here, this method in Python is used to concatenate a list of strings, as name says. Why? What is that it is doing? Okay, you can take this example and test it, and so that you get an idea. Okay. So now you can just, this is the result. Okay. So that result you can print and get it. Okay. Just print S2 dot join of S. Now you, what's going to happen? So this is the string and you are applying on an iterable, iterable object, which can be string, which can be list, which can be set or tuple or a dictionary, anything, any iterable object. So the string you are applying with join on this. So what is going to happen? It is going to iterate this particular iterable object, and every time it iterates, the value of this object is concatenated on this string. Okay, so what is that value? First time A and B and C. That's what is going to happen. You know, right? How to iterate a string, right? It iterates character by character till A is first one, B is second one, C is third one. And then you are saying S2 dot join means you are asking every time you iterate a character, join and with that character. That is the meaning of this. So when you print it, let's run this now. And you can see an output A and B and C. Right? Between A and C, it is going to concatenate or join this and into that iterable object. I hope this gives you a clear idea about what is this join method. Okay, join method does here. Simply speaking, this join method in Python is used to concatenate a list of, not just list of strings. Okay, you can apply on a variety of scenarios. Okay, we'll take it up again when we keep working on automations. We might use here and there few of these. We can apply join and see that. And the last one is this one. Okay, let's take one more example. Let's apply this one. This is more interesting. So we are having a space and we are having list of tokens here. You can see that. Now instead of comma, I want to replace this list of tokens with space, right? And convert that whole list of tokens into a string. Okay. Then the easiest validation I can set it up here is, what is that? So the pattern I can create it is, you can see this very simple, right? See here. So print off this one, or if you want, you can assign to some result and print it. It's up to you. Now what's going to happen? So this space is a string dot join. On top of that, you are applying a list of strings here. Now the idea is to iterate each string in this list or each token in this list and substitute comma with space there. And that whole thing should be converted into a string. When we run this, you can see the output. You can just run it now. Right click and run this now. And you can see that the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. You can see that this is a string where all that commas in that list of tokens are replaced with space and it is converted to a string here. Generally, if you want, you can assign to a variable that what is that. So this is a filtered string or converted string. You can just give some meaningful name, or you can just say formatted string something equal to this one. And then now you can just say print, okay, formatted string. Okay, and you can remove this bracket, one bracket, which is unnecessary there at the end. Now you can run this, and of course, you see the same output. You got it right, friends? This is overall idea of all different string scenarios. So this is a huge coverage because if you go and check anywhere now, so whatever we try to understand and discuss in our session definitely helps you to leverage your learning, enhance your learning, because fundamentally now we discuss many things in string related scenarios. Okay. So this is overall idea of what is that, friends? Overall idea of strings. Understood now? Okay. So that's it, friends. So we'll stop here. Okay. Shall we stop here? Any more questions from you before we stop here? If you have any questions, let me know. We discuss that, friends. Okay.